Good morning, guys. Okay, so we're gonna move on to One Crazy Summer, and more specifically, Collect Call. Um, so let's recap what we've read so far. What we've read so far is that um, Delphine and her two sisters are going out to Oakland to find their mom and to reconnect with her. Well, that's their hope. And so, but the reality has been different. There has not been a reconnection, right? There's been kind of like you do you, I'll do me, and there's not necessarily the love that they expected. And so they went out to go get food because the mom basically said, if you don't have money, you're going to be eating a lot of air sandwiches, which means like nothing, right? Um, and so they're out getting food in Oakland, which is not necessarily the safest of places, by themselves. They're going to get some sort of Asian Chinese food. And the lady is kind of weird, the lady that they go inside with, and they're waiting to make a collect call over to Pa and Big Ma. Okay, collect call. And I now look at my nails, they're so fabulous. My little one, color them. Okay. Mean Lady Mink laid a bill and a few coins on the counter. She handed me the brown bag with the food, gave Anetta a bottle of Pepsi and a small bottle of fruit punch, then gave Fern a paper bag with the plates, cups, forks, and napkins. I scooped up all the change. There were at least 2 dimes in coins, which was enough to call home to Brooklyn collect. When we went outside, the beakish guy with floppy afro was gone. We all squeezed into the phone booth with the bags of minks. I hooked my finger inside the hole for 0 on the top of the phone. It dialed. The operator came on and I spoke up. Operator, I want to make a call to Louis Gaither. Papa's proper name. Felt strange coming from my mouth. I said it again clearer, although the operator didn't ask me. Aunt, too. Instead, she asked me for my name and I gave it to her. Delphine. There's nothing mumbly about the way I talk. I don't swallow my letters or run them together. The operator still asks, can I have that again? As if I didn't get it the first time, I broke it into syllables. Delphine. She told me to stay on the line. While she was ringing Pa, I realized my Timex was still on Brooklyn time and that it was after 11 o'clock. Pa rose in the dark for work and was asleep by 9. I started to wind the stem when the operator came back on. Go ahead, miss. Hello? Hello? Big Mouse sounded far away, but we heard her and were glad to have reached home. Already Vanetta and Fern began puppy yelling in the background and grabbing at the phone. I gave them a stern look and made them quit it before I could say, we're here in Oakland with Cecile, Big Ma said. Delphine, do you know how much this phone call is costing your father? There was no time to be tongue-tied. I spoke up, but Pa said to call. Not collective and where'd you get that thought like that? I knew you girls should have never left Brooklyn. You fly out of Oakland and lose your last ounce of common sense. Let me speak to your mother. She's not here, I said. She's in her house. Bonetta and Fern were still shouting to Big Ma and Papa, who was asleep. And why are you out in the streets in the middle of the night? I'm going to tell your pa about this, Big Ma scolded and fussed, running to the phone bill even higher. When she was done telling me about myself and about what that no kind of mother Cecile, I told her we were safe and said goodnight, and Vanetta and Fern hollered out, good night, Big Ma, Pa, then hung up the phone. At least I had done what Pa had told me to do so. I called. Cecile guarded the kitchen swinging door and pointed us to the living room, where she had laid out a waxy tablecloth on the floor. We spread it around the cloth. Cecile took over everything, dumping shrimp lo mein and egg rolls on each plate, tossing everyone a fork and a napkin. To me, she said, pour the drinks, which I did. This was the most mothering we got, if you don't count her coming to claim us. Not that I wanted or needed any mothering. I was just thinking of Vanetta and Fern. They were expecting a mother, at least a hug, a look of how you all grown, a look of sorrow and plea for forgiveness. At least that was the one thing Cecile and Big Ma had in common. Big Ma had no forgiveness for Cecile, and Cecile had no need for it. Ming Lady Ming had thrown in a pair of chopsticks. Vanetta and Fern eyed the wooden sticks and formulated ideas of turning them into hairpins, play fight swords, and picky up sticks. Cecile ended all of that when she broke the sticks, joined them on the top, rubbing them against each other like it was some kind of twigs for campfire, then wrapped noodles around them and swallowed the noodles, shrimp and sticks in her mouth. We were starving. We'd never seen anyone eat like chopsticks other than on TV. We'd never even seen colored people eating with them. And here was our mother eating with chopsticks like the Chinese men that I had read about who worked in the railroads. She ate hungrily, setting no type of table manner example for us daughters. Cecile knew our eyes were on her. With a mouthful of food, she said, "Thought you all were hungry." We picked up our forks and ate. When we were done, Cecile grabbed everything that hadn't been used: soy sauce, spicy mustard, her fork, an extra cup that mean Lady Ming had thrown in. She told us to stay right there when she brought everything into the kitchen, so we stayed put. I thought she might want to talk to us, find out how we were doing in school, what we liked and didn't like, if we ever had chicken pox or tonsils taken out. While I thought about this, I taught her we heard a knock on the door, then another loud knock. We jumped up and looked through the curtains, but Cecile came out of the kitchen. "Get back in the room, get." And we did. But I had caught a glimpse through the curtain. Had already seen the three people in dark clothes with afros. Ooh, who can those people be? And why are they going into Cecile's house? And why doesn't she want her daughters to know who they are? So all valid questions. Okay, so we'll continue reading it tomorrow. For right now, can I have you take out your Greek and Latin roots? I'm gonna take out mine too. Okay, guys, so we're doing this a little bit backwards, literally. So I went ahead and in your packets I gave you from unit 20 and 19, I believe. And the reason why is because I didn't know exactly how long this would last, so I figured if we worked backwards, we could meet ourselves back where we were at, where we just finished. And so I want to commend or give like kudos to those kiddos that have been working through this all. So I checked last night to see how many of you guys have been working on con, and to see how many have done ReadWorks. And so I see there's kiddos that are trying them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We cannot control what's going on out there. Like, the only thing we can control is how we react to it. And we need to make sure that we're remaining consistent with what we're doing, because at the end of the day, this is all going to end and we're going to go back to school. And the last thing we want is to have not have been using our brains like we should have been using them. Even me, I'm like reading other books just because I don't want to lose touch with reading and writing and all that fun stuff. So please, 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 I cannot beg you more. Make sure you're remaining consistent with your work. Do it, try it. I'm not asking you to complete it all. I'm asking you to at least attempt it, work some out, do something, keep your mind going, keep your mind busy. And so in the way we're keeping consistent is that we're still going over Greek and Latin roots. And so this week we're going to go over medi, semi or hemi, and eek. And so in your notebooks, I want you to start by writing the first one, which is medi. I don't know what root this is, but which is medi. I'm going to put it as 1. And the first thing I think about is medium. And I also think of a root of a math word, which is median. And medium is the middle of. Look at, I forgot how to spell middle. And median is numbers from lowest to highest, middle. So if you put the numbers from least to greatest, it's going to be the middle number. That's the median. And so medi, what medi means is middle. which makes sense when we know these words already. And 2 is going to be semi and hemi. And so the words that I think about is hemisphere, and this is half of the world when it's split. See, guys, I'm forgetting how to spell. Oh my gosh. Half the world when it's split. I hope it splits on the equator. Whew. And I can't think of anything on my own anymore. Semicircle? And that might be because I already front-loaded my brain. A semicircle is half of a circle. Semi or hemi mean half. And the next one is equal. Equal. And so one of the things I think about is right away equal. And that means the same of. And then the other one is equator. The line that runs through the middle. The middle of the world. And equa is even, level. Oopsie, sorry guys. If you haven't finished copying this, obviously pause the video. You have that option while we move on to definitions of the words. And so I'm gonna read over them. Medium is in the middle or the range possible sizes, amounts. I wasn't sure I could finish a large coffee, so I ordered a medium. And I want you to, something different, we haven't really been doing this, but I want you to box your root word in the word. Median, a mathematical term that refers to the middle value in a series of numbers arranged from smallest to greatest. Median, medi. Not very mediocre, not very good, but not very bad. Mediocre. On this one, so this might be a new word for you. I say, you say mediocre. Mediocre. If I say, you're kind of mediocre at reading. You're not very great, but you're not very bad either. Mediocre. Meditate, to work with opposing sides in an argument in order to bring about an agreement. Sorry, meditate. Mediate. Mediate. When my partner and I disagreed about a project, our teacher came to mediate and find a resolution to a problem. Mediate. Okay, and the next one is semicircle, half a circle. Semicircle, half a circle. Hemisphere, one of the halves of the earth as divided by the equator. One of the two halves of a sphere. Hemisphere. Semicolon. Semicolon. A punctuation that can be used to separate major parts in a sentence and to separate items in a series of items. Contain commas, and this is what a semicolon looks like. That's a semicolon. Okay, the writer uses semi to link sentences together that were related to each other. So if I say, for instance, this would be one of them. My mother brought many items, semicolon. I can list them. Snacks, pencils. And so it's kind of separating two different ideas. And the second part of the ideas must be a list. So that's separated by commas. That's semicolon. Let me go ahead and okay, the next one is equitable. Equitable. I say, you say equitable. Being fair or just. After bickering for hours, my little sister and I finally agreed to be equitable, to an equitable arrangement of sharing the computer. Equitable. In order to be equitable, my sister and I, when I shared rooms with her, we would like literally have a line, like a physical line across our rooms, and that was my half and she had her half. And so we were equal but separate, and we wouldn't fight like that. Or that was our hope, that we wouldn't have fought. Okay, equator. So equal. An imaginary circle around the middle of the earth, equally distant from the North Pole to the South Pole. Equidistant, equally distant. Hey, did you guys notice though that when you're pretty good with root words, you'll see that sometimes just a root is added to as a prefix or a suffix to create a new word. So you all know what distant is, right? Distant is just the length of how far you are apart from someone or something. And then once they just added equa, which means you know that means even or level, equidistance, equally distant. So that's what's really cool about learning your Greek and root words, is that sometimes just by knowing them, that there's some words that would just add a Greek or root prefix or suffix. Neat. Words are cool. Okay. Let's go ahead and go over a little bit of this, just a tad bit, a little bit, because I know you guys are really good at this. I wasn't very proud of my bling grade on the test. Is it median, mediocre, mediate, semicircle, hemisphere, semicolon, equitable, equator, equidistant? My mediocre. So they're not good and they're not bad, they're mediocre. I hear little footsteps. The blank receives more of the sun's energy than any other area of the earth. The equator, right? So the equator is where it receives the most sunlight. So most people, when they say we're moving, when they retire, a lot of people move closer to the equator because it's nice and warm there. And the rest, I am letting you do. And I'm sure you got this part. The one part that I will walk you through most of it is your analogies. But let me know if you have any questions. I will post this video up. Oh, before I forget, don't forget to do your ReadWorks. Today's ReadWorks is going to be westward expansion, introduction to westward expansion, and it should be on Classroom. Let me know if you have any issues on that one. Okie dokie, see you soon for math, guys.